So the quality of this card that we have here is pretty bad, but that's what we're working with. Alright, so now we can read it. Hi and welcome to a cEDH card review for Mirran Safehouse, a new card from Phyrexia. All will be one. It's a free CMC artifact, not a creature, and it doesn't come into play tapped. That's important because as long as Mirran Safehouse is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all land cards in all graveyards. In other words, it's very similar to a Necrotic Ooze, but lands instead of creatures. So what we want to have here is a combination of lands together into one card that goes infinite. Well, first we need to tap for a bunch of mana. I guess you already know what Gaia's Cradle does. Add green mana to your mana pool for each creature you control. So suddenly you can make your Mirran Safehouse tap for a lot of green mana. Scorch Ruin, however, is a little bit of a more rare card. When Scorch Ruin comes into play, sacrifice 2 untapped lands or bury Scorch Ruin. So that's a way to get your lands into play. By the way, you can just play Scorch Ruin, neglect to use its ability, and it will go to the graveyard by itself. Tap it, add 4 colorless mana to your mana pool. Okay, so that's done. Now we just need to untap the artifact somehow. Ghost Town is a land that taps for colorless mana. You can pay 0 mana, return Ghost Town to owner's hand. Use this ability only during another player's turn. Oboro Palace in the Clouds, a blue colored entity land that taps for blue. Now 1 mana, return Oboro Palace in the Clouds to owner's hand. So here are some combinations of how we can go infinite with this free CMC artifact here. Where Ghost Town would require Emergency Zone. You sacrifice Emergency Zone, now you're allowed to cast things during an opponent's turn, which means that you can cast your Mirran Safehouse, tap it, utilizing Scorch Ruin or Gaia's Cradle to generate a lot of mana, use Ghost Town's activated ability from the graveyard to return Mirran Safehouse back to your hand, and because you're gonna generate 4 mana from Scorch Ruin, 3 mana to recast the artifact, you're going infinite colorless mana here. Now you might say that we can't do anything with our infinite colorless mana. Don't worry, we're gonna filter that into colored mana. As long as there is any land that taps for any form of color in any graveyard, as this has the ability of all lands in all graveyards, you can just filter that colorless mana into whatever color you need, basically. And then just get one of your commanders into play that could utilize the infinite mana and win the match. So let's say that our commander is Phyrexia. Perfect example here. You can win with infinite mana, and you get the color identity that we need for Cradle and Oboro Palace in the Clouds. And honestly, I mean, Cradle is already a great card. Oboro Palace in the Clouds is not the best. But the only thing you need to do here to include this combo is to just cut a basic land, an island, which you probably don't play anyway because you're not 4 color into the deck, but you could sacrifice like one of your many different land options for Oboro and you're done. The clean game plan here is to basically draw cards, discard cards to your graveyard, and filter through your deck, and then cast Mirran Safehouse. Pretty much the same kind of game plan like Underworld Breach. And here we have a lot of different cool options: Bazaar of Baghdad, draw and discard cards, frantic search, fatalist looting, intuition, crop rotation, and life from the loam. So getting this strategy to flow and work feels like a possible thing to achieve. The only sad part is that you need to get your Cradle into the grave in this case, but well, greater sacrifice for greater good. But the potential for this card could increase over time, because Wizard of the Coast are probably going to print more cards in the future that are lands that could utilize this card in some great potential ways. So I really think that this is a card that you should keep in mind, as more lands will definitely see print with unique, tricky abilities. Now, even though we have something going for us here with the Cradle, Oboro Palace in the Cloud Sky, and Phyrexia, I don't think that this is like busted. I don't think this is gonna change the format that much, or well, it could potentially, who knows. But I think it's gonna be a Plan B combo at its very best. That's where I think you should try to place it. But I really like it. I really like that lands could be a thing inside cEDH, because currently it's not. So I'm really happy to see its print, and I'm really happy to see that there's a cool gimmicky strategy we could go for it as well. And I think it's gonna grow in power level with more lands seeing print in the future. But until then, take care guys, and thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you found it entertaining, and I'll see you in the next card review.